Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Are you confused or do not have a proper understanding of different terms relevant to journals and publishing your academic works? Terms like peer review, publishing houses, Scopus, SCI, impact factor, site score, SGR index, H index, I index, open access, limited access, so on and so forth. If so, you will get to know about all these terms in this video. As an academic person, you must have the basic understanding about all these terms to select a good and proper journal to publish your manuscript. So, without any further ado, let's begin. First term we are going to know is peer review. What is peer review? Peer reviewing is a process by which something proposed is evaluated by a group of experts in the appropriate field. Something proposed as for research or publication. It is the evaluation of work by one or more people with similar competencies as the producers of the work. Peer review methods are used to maintain quality standard, improve performance, and provide credibility. It is one of the very important indicators to evaluate the quality of a particular journal. If you see on the left side, the illustration shows a process flow of the peer review process, which starts with your submission of the manuscript to the editors, from editors to the reviewers. And the reviewers review your paper and send it back to the editors. Then editors submit it back to you to amend the paper according to the comments made by the reviewers. So this process goes once, twice, or maybe maximum 3. And depending on this circle of process, the peer review process can be blind, double blind, or triple blind. The review process can take a few months, which is one of the reasons sometimes the whole publication becomes longer. Most of the cases, this review process is costly and can be rigorous as well. Your credit for publication is in the form of citation. To our next term, publishing house. What is publishing house? Publishing houses are the domain that host a number of different journals from different disciplines. Here is a list of top most popular and worldwide known publishing houses. I'm sure you must have come across all these logos, and these publishing houses are familiar with you. These publishing houses listed here, they all published more than half of all academic papers in the peer-reviewed literature in 2019 globally. Moving on to our next term, which is SGR index. This index is one of the most widely used tools to measure or evaluate the quality of any journal. It is also sometimes called as the impact factor. The full form of SGR index is Shimago Journal Ranking, which is ranked by Scopus database. It is done to rank the journals, to rank the country, and to provide visualization tool for literature review and correlation. It is the first kind of internationally recognized ranking, and it is freely available on shimagoja.com. To measure the impact factor or the index score, it considers 3 years of journal statistics and measures the contextual citation impact. If you see one example here, for the first quarter of this particular journal, the SGR index is 1.09 in 2019. If you browse any journal which is indexed by Scopus, you will be able to find this ranking or index score somewhere in the home page of that journal. If you see this scoring, that means that particular journal is indexed by Scopus. That's how you recognize Scopus Index journal. Another term similar to SGR index is SCI. Let's move on to this term. SCI, which is another tool of evaluating a journal known as Science Citation Index. SCI journal rank is produced by the Institute of Scientific Information, in short ISI, which is owned by Thomson Reuters. We often, that is why, call the journals indexed by SCI is ISI journals. ISI index ensures the credibility and quality of journals by strict evaluation process. More than 8,500 notable journals that cover more than 150 disciplines are indexed by ISI. Different platforms are used to make the index available online. For example, the most popular is Web of Science. It covers more than 100 countries, 7,000 institutions, 18,700 plus journals, 54 million records, and 1 billion searchable cited references. Now let us know what is impact factor. Well, impact factor is a measure used to determine the importance or rank of a journal by calculating the times its articles are cited. The calculation is based on 2-year period and involves dividing the number of times articles were cited by the number of articles that were citable. For example, to calculate an impact factor of a particular journal for 2009, the considerable 2 years is the previous 2 years, that is 2008 and 2007. So the total number of citation in these 2 years is 17,000. And the total number of publication, that is the recent items published in 2 years, is 2,700. So we divide the citation by the publication. 17,000 by 2,700, it gives 6.296. So for that particular journal in 2009, the impact factor is 6.296. So there are more than one tools to measure the impact factor. How you measure the impact factor? So the first one to measure the impact factor is the journal citation reports. Ranking for science, technology, and social sciences, limited to citation data of journal indexed in Web of Science. Process to determine journals included in the tool indexes over 12,000 journals in arts, humanities, science, and social science. The most popular tool is the Shimago Journal Ranking, that is SJR, which I have discussed earlier. And the other one, which is not that popular, is SNIP, which is known as Source Normalized Impact per paper. It is a contextual citation impact by weighting citations based on the total number of citations in a subject field. Our next term is Asian factor. It is another tool to measure or evaluate the quality of a journal. It is freely available online at asianfactor.org. Citation weighted by the EF that is agent factor. It is a project of an academic research project co-founded in January 2007 by Carl Bergstrom and Jevin West. It is one of the new emerging factors compared to Google PageRanking, and it's similar calculation process to Google Scholar Rank. Let's move on to another common term you often come across, and that is site score. What is site score? Site score is another metric for measuring journal impact in Scopus. The calculation of site score for the current year is based on the number of citations received by a journal in that year for the documents published in the journal in the past 3 years, divided by the documents indexed in Scopus published in those 3 years. For example, here is you can see to measure the site score in 2018 for a particular journal, the number of citations to all items published in 2015 to 2017, that is for 3 years, is divided by the total documents, all items published in those 3 years. So that is how site score is calculated. Site score and impact factor. Both are two measuring tools or measuring criteria that evaluate a quality of a journal. Let's have a look on the differences or a comparison between these two measuring tools. This is a comparison between these two measuring tools. Site score, which is based on Scopus data, whereas impact factor is based on Web of Science data, that is ISI journals. Site score uses a 3-year window, whereas impact factor adopts a 2-year window. Site score includes all the documents types indexed by Scopus, whereas the impact factor includes only the citable documents, which are articles and reviews. You see on the left side there is a comparison, pictorial comparison between these two measuring tools. Our next term is H-index and I10 index. The indices that we discussed earlier are for journal impact to evaluate a particular journal, whereas these indices H-index and I10 index are author's impact to evaluate an author's qualification or quality. So let's know what is H-index and I10 index. H-index and I10 index evaluates author's profile as a researcher. If you have published 10 research articles and your 2 articles have received 2 citations each, then your H-index will be 2. If your 3 research articles have received 3 citations each, then your H-index will be 3. And for I10 index, if out of your 10 published research articles, one paper has received the citation of 10 or more than that, then your I10 index will be 1. If your 2 research articles have received citation of more than 10, then your I10 index will be 2. Likewise, your I10 index will also increase, which means for I10 index, your minimum citation has to be 10. Let's see how you can check H-index and I10 index. For this, you have to go to Google Scholar page and type a particular author's name, the name you want to search for. You can also look yourself in here. So you search the author's profile. You have to go to that profile page of that particular author. I'm typing a name, Khairunisa Ibrahim. She is one of the lecturer at IIUM in finance department. If you see, her total citation is 211, her H index 8, item index 7. That means her each of 7 articles had received 10 citation each. So likewise, if let me show another example. Herbert S. Simon, he is an American scholar. His citation is 369,000, item index 566. So huge. So that's how you look your H index and I10 index. Our last sharing is the types of journal. Let's know what are the different types of journals available for publication. There are mainly 2 types of journal, limited access journal and open access journal. What are the differences? The nature of limited access journals are subscription or pay-per-view, meaning if you want to have an access to a particular journal or article, you have to pay first, you have to subscribe first, and the subscription is on monthly basis or yearly basis. You pay as a reader, so because the reader is paying, the author doesn't have to pay for publication, meaning the publication is cost-free. That is the advantage of limited access journals. You as a researcher don't have to pay any amount. Whereas on the other hand, for open access journals, the access is open for anyone. Anyone can view and download for free. Because it is free, you as a researcher have to pay the cost. And the advantage of these type of journals are the chances of your site or your paper or your manuscript being cited by other authors or other readers are more than limited access journals, because it is more visible and more exposed to more readers or more authors. So number of citations will be increased if you publish your journals or papers in open access journals. And also the review process for open access journals is faster than the limited access journal. The quality is more or less same for both type of journals. Emerald, Elsevier, Sage, all these platforms, the web host, they have both types of journals, limited access and open access journals. The another type of journals you will find is the predatory journals. Predatory means they look like scientific journal and they pretend to be good quality, but most often they are fake. So please be sure about the journals, whether it is predatory or not. Go to the home page, check properly, check the contact, the editor's profile, and then only you submit your manuscript to that particular journals. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked the video and I was able to share the basic understanding of different confusing terms related to publishing your academic works. If you know someone who could be benefited out of this video, please feel free to share the knowledge. And finally, choose halal lifestyle to stay healthy and productive. Thank you very much.